I don't feel I'm awake. I feel like I'm in a dream. Being here. It's a stunning experience to come to such a prestigious, such an influential institution in the whole world. I admired from a distance. In the past, whenever I came, I tried to get a glimpse of Al-Azhar. I just came through just watching from a distance. I didn't dare to enter. I was not familiar where to go. Today you bring me in. I'm here with the students and the faculty and the friends. It's an amazing experience, a lifetime experience for me. I give my greetings to Grand Imam and all the leaders of the university. When you are mentioning all the numbers, these are stunning numbers. I come from the academic background. I know what it means, how staggering those numbers are, how overwhelming the undertaking is. This is a memorable event for me, to see you, meet you physically, and even get a chance to talk to you. It's a rare, rare opportunity. As someone coming from academic world, it's always exciting to be with the students. That's what we do, that's what we live for. And my greetings to all of you, all the students of Al-Azhar who are present here, who are outside, those staggering number of students and faculties all over the world. And among them, there are Bangladeshi students, pretty large number too. Can I see you with the Bangladeshi students? Will you please stand up to see? Wow, these are all Bangladeshi students. I should. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. তাহলে তো বাংলায় কথা বললেই হয় সব। অসংখ্য ধন্যবাদ। থ্যাংক ইউ। অপূর্ব সৌভাগ্য আমাদের সবার, আপনাদের সবার সঙ্গে দেখা হলো আজকে। আমরা দেশের সবার পক্ষ থেকে আপনাদেরকে বিজয় দিবসের শুভেচ্ছা জানাচ্ছি। আমি ইংরেজিতেই বলি, অন্যরা বুঝতে পারবে না বলে আপনারা তো বুঝতে পারবেন। একটু পরে বাংলা বলবো, আগে ইংরেজিতে বলিনি কিছুক্ষণ। It's a wonderful feeling that you could accommodate so many students. I hope more and more students from Bangladesh could come here, and more opportunities will be available to you, because you change the world. Coming to Al-Azhar gives you the perspective, give you the knowledge, give you the willingness to do things which is good for humanity, not only in Bangladesh, globally. So that's your role. You are not limited to a particular country. You are limited for, your service is for the whole world, for all humanity. I have to catch a flight right after this. So I have to be brief, and I'll try to share my experiences, what I did as a teacher, what I was trying to do, because this opportunity to interact with the students give me this opportunity to share what my efforts were, initiatives were. My experience in the University of Chittagong began 53 years back, as Bangladesh became just independent country at that time. I came back from the United States where I was teaching. Bangladesh today and Bangladesh 53 years back are completely different. Bangladesh was the poorest country in the world. That was its title. This is not something make you feel encouraged that you are a citizen of the poorest country in the whole world. 86% of the population of Bangladesh were under the poverty line. And you see poverty everywhere. And that war of liberation made it worse, because all the roads were broken, all the bridges are torn apart because of the war of liberation. People's life became very, very difficult. And as I was teaching, trying to see what can be done to make sure the people who live around the campus are reached out to. Because I was campaigning within the faculty of the university saying, if university is the reservoir of all the knowledge of the world, it doesn't matter where it is located, whether it's in the poorest country or the richest country, university is supposed to be the reservoir of all knowledge. And that's what Chittagong University should be too, as a reservoir of all knowledge. My question to the faculty was, if it is the reservoir of knowledge, should it be just limited to the walls of the university? Or should it be available to the people who live around the campus? That became a big debate. And I was campaigning that knowledge is no good if it is not useful for people. So if the university has knowledge, it must reach out and touch the lives of the people who were around it and beyond. And that's what this whole meaning of having an university. So we're trying to see, I was trying to see, not many people paid attention to it. What can be done? And then terrible thing happens in Bangladesh. Terrible, terrible thing. Worst thing that happened to our life in the history of Bangladesh. In 1974, we were hit by a famine. And Bangladeshi students probably heard about it, but others may not. An enormous number of people were dying of hunger throughout the country. You literally see dead bodies on the street every day. They died not because they had some any disease. They died because they couldn't eat. They didn't have enough to eat. And dying by hunger is the most painful way to die. Death approaches very slowly. The day you die, the moment you die, you cannot distinguish, nobody can distinguish at what point you are alive, at what point you are dead. It's a very slow-moving process. And suddenly, it shocked everybody. That is death by hunger, massive number of people in Bangladesh. And that hit us too in the university. So one of the things I was trying to do, if shortage of food is the problem, people couldn't eat. All I can do, at least try to help the village next door to the university campus do not have shortage of food. So my first effort was to make sure there is no shortage of food in one village which is next to the university campus. So I did lots of different things. Then I saw no matter what I did, there's still a large number of poor people in the village who couldn't afford to buy that food, even if they had the food in the village. So I was trying to see how do you do that. One traditional way, give them charity, give them some money so that they get some food. And I was wondering whether there's a good way to do that, because religions, most of the religions say that, give charity to the people for good reasons. But I was kind of hesitant, because this is something which doesn't lead to the solution. It only perpetuates the problem. So I kind of took a different decision that I don't want to go by that route. It's a good one, but I don't want to pursue that road. I was looking for something which can be sustainable. Opportunity came, some experience of interaction with a villager, a village woman. And she was explaining how she survives in a daily way. But in her survival process, she had to borrow money from someone to make some stool. And then the lender, which is the trader, gets all those stools to himself and sells in the market. And he gives the lowest possible price for those stools that the women made for. So she was totally cheated out of the whole deal. So she remains poor, but she struggles hard to make sure she gets a meal next morning or next day. The reason she didn't have the money to buy bamboo, which goes into the stool, I asked her, how much does a bamboo cost? So she borrowed the money from the trader. She said maybe about 50 cents, US dollar wise, or maybe a little more if you are looking for a good quality. I said, what if somebody gave you that 50 cents as a loan, can you pay it back? He said, of course I can pay it back, because I pay him much more than that. So paying you back is no big deal. I thought about it. Should I give her the 50 cents and let her be free from the moneylender, trader? Or she should continue the same relationship and see what happens. So I did give her the money. But I thought about it. Next morning I came back to her and said, okay, I'll give you the money. The deal is you'll return the money to me once your business is done, and then you can borrow more. So this was the start of something that I continued, because I was so excited that she really paid it back, and I gave her money back again. So I told the villagers, in the meantime I became very familiar with the village women and village people. I said, if you need money, come to me. I'll give you the money. This is in a circumstances, in an environment where money lenders will give you money, and for that money you have to give away everything. Still your money is not paid back. That's what the money lending practices in Bangladesh and many other countries is all about. Here I am, I'm not talking about taking away everything. I'm just asking for the money to be back, that's all. Whatever I gave is returned to me. People thought, oh, it's so easy. So it became very popular. The more popular it gets, more excited I get. Because it helped people. They started doing things and paying me back. Then I thought, this is not my job. I'm a teacher. Why should I lend money to people? This is the job of a bank. So there are several bank branches in the campus. So I went to the bank branch that I'm more familiar with. I told him, why don't you do that? He told me, no, banks don't lend money to poor people. That's not their job. I said, what is your job? To lend money to people who need money, lots of money. I said, that's very funny. You want to give lots of money, but you don't want to give little money. He said, that's banking. I said, that's wrong. That's wrong banking. So I kept summarizing that principle of banking. I still do all the time. It's a very strange principle of banking. The banking principle is very simple. It says the more you have, the more you get. If you have nothing, you get nothing. I said, that's very strange. You have the whole banking structure in the whole world on that principle? It is like that. Still, it's all over the world. I said, banking system is wrong. The first time I became very bold, I started saying banking system is wrong. How should you fix it? I said, very simple. You reverse your principle. The new principle would be the less you have, the more attention you get. If you have more, you have to wait. All bankers laugh at me. That's not banking. I said, that is the banking. If banking has any meaning, it has to touch the life of the people. And touching the life of the people begins by accepting that principle. The less you have, more attention you get. Then bankers said, oh, it will not work. No matter what principle is, but it sounds good, but it will not work. Poor people will never pay back. Then I raised a simple question. How do you know? Have you ever given any money to any poor people? No, we have not, because our system doesn't allow that. I said, then how could you come to that conclusion? Oh, everybody knows that. I said, I don't know that. So I want to practice. I want to find out. So I started doing that and find out everybody pays back. They said, well, it can stay for a while. They are trying to impress you so that they can get more money. The more money they will get, then they'll stop paying you back. I said, that's your assumption. I will not stop until I face that problem. I will continue. And I continued. As I continued, more and more people came. In the meantime, I started focusing on the poorest people, and the poorest of them are the women. So I said, why don't I start at the poorest level of survival? So naturally went to the women and started doing that with women. And it expanded. Then I said, why don't I create a bank, separate, different kind of bank than the conventional way that you see? The idea of having a bank came at that moment. And I started debating with the government officials, telling them, give us a permission to create a bank. Everybody laughed at it. How can you have a bank for the poor people? I said, like the way I do it. Oh, that's not banking. I said, what would you call it? Banking is about lending money and getting money back and running a sustainable organization. It's a business organization. Nobody believed that. Finally, after many years, I got the permission to create a bank. I called it Grameen Bank or Village Bank and continued to expand. And that became a story after that. So this is how an idea came to challenge an institution. The reason I'm telling this story in details, unless you challenge, nothing will happen. The world will remain the way it is. It is the young people, it is the students who can see things more clearly because they are still looking for things. And that's what you are. Looking for things to do. Looking for changing people's life. Looking for changing the whole world. If you stay where you are, repeating the same thing over and over again, world will remain where it is. And then I came with the idea that I started telling about. I said, not only you challenge, you dream, you imagine. Imagination is a big power. That's very funny. It doesn't cost you anything to imagine. You can imagine anything you want. Imagination doesn't have any limit. But it is the fundamental thing to lead you to change. If you don't imagine, it will never happen. It's a very funny thing. If you don't imagine, it will never happen. But if you imagine, it has a big chance of happening. So I encourage everybody, all my students, people that I meet, make imagination. Imagine things. Things which are absolutely impossible. Imagine that. And if you keep on imagining, it will happen. So while I do the thing, coming bang, and people say it will work in Bangladesh, it will not work anyplace else, it started spreading in other countries. It even came to Egypt. We started some programs in Egypt. Many microcredit programs are introduced. It went to many other countries in Asia. The funny thing is, it was introduced in the United States. In 2008, we set up a program called Grameen America. It started in Jackson Heights, New York. Everybody said, no, this is not Bangladesh. We don't have poor people in the United States. You are making us feel like we are some kind of fools. I said, no, you're not fools. You're very smart people. But you don't realize that you have poor people. Because you keep claiming that you don't have poor people. You are the richest country in the world, quote unquote, richest country in the world. That doesn't mean you don't have poor people. Oh no, we don't have poor people. It's a rich country. I said, yes. Then I asked the question, do you have welfare program in your country? Oh yes, it's a very rich program. We have lots of people. We take care of all the people. We give them monthly check every month so that they can buy their whatever their family needs are, so that they can take care of themselves, their children. A check every month, welfare check. I said, you know what? Every family, every person that you are giving a welfare check is a poor person by your own recognition, because they cannot afford to maintain their life by themselves. So you are giving them money from the state. They are poor, but you are claiming they are not poor. You are hiding poverty. Anyway, this debate went on, but in the meantime, Grameen America started expanding. Now it works in 35 cities in the United States. It lends out about $2 billion a year. In a couple of years' time, they will be distributing $3 billion and $4 billion. This is the path it has took. And the amazing thing, repayment rate is absolutely near 100%. Never changed. So you challenge something, and people say it cannot work. Oh, okay, it can work in Bangladesh. Bangladesh is a funny country. Anything can go. But it will not happen in any other countries. Now it's all over the world. Why women? I explained. And I said, women are not only poor in terms of income, they are also poor in health. If you are poor, you are always poor in health. If you are a poor woman, then all the diseases of the world is heading for you. That's the situation of poor women. So along with microcredit, all the loans that we give, savings that we take, we started looking at the condition of healthcare of the poor women. So we built up a whole healthcare program. We have healthcare program in every village so that we can take care of all the women. We have over 10 million borrowers, meaning 10 million women in our system, in the Grameen Bank in Bangladesh. So there's lots of people needing healthcare. So we introduced our healthcare system, and it worked very well. And we created many other systems to help the poor people. And people say, why are you doing all these things? Why don't you leave it to the state to take care? I said, look, the state government can do whatever they can do, but every citizen has a right and obligation to do what he or she can do. So we are simply using our right to make sure we make life for other people better. That's what we are doing. But you're doing it in a bit, you are charging people fee, you're charging people money to run this. Why don't you do it as a charity? I said, I'm always trying to stay away from charity, but charity has one limitation. Charity is a wonderful word, wonderful idea, because that's the only place where poor people could survive, charity. I said, I am saying that it can be done in another way. Because charity, when it goes, helps people, it does help people. But money that goes, it never comes back. So you have only one-time use of your money. So you have to find fresh money to do the same thing again. I said, what I'm doing, I'm trying to create it as a business proposition. So money goes out and does the job, and money comes back. So you use the money again and again. It never stops. I said, this is more powerful. Charity money has one life, but if you do it in another way, where it's a business proposition, then it has an endless life. Then he said, then you must be making a lot of money. I said, no, I'm not making money. That's not what I do. I promised to myself that I'll never make any money for myself. That's it. Simple proposition. So I don't even make any money for myself. Then why are you doing like this? This is not a business then. I said, it is a business. See, we're conflicting. In our classroom, we are told, if you are in a business, you have to make money. And the best sign of a good business is to make the profit as high as possible. Profit maximization principle. See, I got stuck with this now. Profit maximization principle. I said, well, that may be the one kind of business, but there are other kind of business. Oh, in our books, there is no other kind of business. There's only one kind of business. To profit maximizing. To maximize profit. I said, if you have only one kind of principle, then this is something missing. There should be in your textbook another kind of business. Business to solve problem of the people without making any money for yourself. Oh, we never heard of this because you never did that. I said, I'm doing it, I like it. They started a debate. Can this be a business? I said, of course it's a business. Business means you sell something, you produce something, sell something, and get your money back and have a surplus. In my business, there is a surplus. There's no question about it. But I don't want to take it myself. That's the only thing. The rest of it's the same. Why didn't you want to take money for yourself? I said, that's my decision. That's all. You don't question that. If you like it, you should do it too. It's fun to do that. It's a big controversy in economics classes and conferences, debate, can this be a business? I'm saying this is a business, as business as anything else. So finally I have to give it a name. I started calling it social business. Defining as a business to solve problem without financially benefiting by yourself. So surplus stays with the business and expands the business. We took this principle and expanded, creating many, many other businesses. And funny thing, we came up with an idea. Well, government was giving licenses to telephone services, but in Bangladesh, in many countries, I'm sure Egypt did the same thing. At one point of time, very few people had telephones. It was a government service and very inefficient. Maybe 100,000, maybe something like that. That's the total number of telephones in the whole country. So that's when the mobile telephone idea came, and it's got introduced in other countries. Bangladesh wanted to give a license, give licenses for setting up mobile telephone companies. We looked at each other. What does it mean? And we had an idea. Why don't we apply? We had no idea what a mobile phone is for. But since government is asking for application, we sent an application. We want to have a mobile phone company. Everybody asked, why do you want to have a mobile phone company? You are just lending money to poor people, that's all. Mobile phone company, mobile phone is for the rich people. Very rich people. Because at that time it's very expensive when it came. So I said, well, we have an idea. We want to bring telephone in the hands of poor women. Again, a shocking experience. Why poor women? What do they do with the telephone? I said, we'll figure that out. We explained. Government was not happy with our application. They said, why do you want to give money to poor women? Telephone to poor women. I said, it's not for her to send messages or start it. At that time, there's no messages, just calling. Just calling each other. They're not calling anybody. They will allow the rich people in the village to use their telephone and charge a person heavy price. Because that's the first time telephone came, everybody wants to make a telephone call, she will make money. So why should I give it to rich people? I give it to the poor people. The privilege of having the telephone company. So we want to do that. So we created a telephone company called Grameen Phone. Government official asked, you said your women are illiterate. I said 100%. All our women are illiterate. They cannot read, they cannot write, they cannot even write their names. They don't even know what their names are. That's the beginning. Then why are you giving the telephones? Who cannot read, who cannot write? How are they going to push the buttons if somebody says, make a call for me to such and such place? I said, you underestimate poor people. If they find out pushing those numbers bring them money, they will learn it in 10 minutes. There are only 10 numbers in the whole world. So if those numbers bring money, they are smart people. The poor people are poor, but they are not dumb people. They are very smart people. That's how they survive. And literally they did that. They learned those numbers and became very successful telephone companies by themselves, just selling the telephone service in the villages. We call them telephone ladies of the village. Very soon we had 1 million telephone ladies selling services all over Bangladesh. Grameen Phone became the largest telephone company in the country, still the largest company in the country. The reason I'm telling this story is, you have to just twist a little bit. World changes completely. All I did, give few cents lending to poor people. It changed the whole world. Because I stood by it, explained it, repeatedly showed that it is possible, it can be done. And then I bring the mobile phone in the hands of the poor people. Everybody said, this company will never work. That became the largest company. They never had an idea that women and the poor women can be involved in telephones. It dramatized the whole family. She became the most powerful person in the whole village because she has a telephone. You may be a rich person, but you don't have a telephone. Because our company gave only telephone to the poor women, nothing else, in the beginning. Now we give it to everybody. So she became very, very respected person, very important person in the village. One lady was explaining to me in those days, saying that, I said, how do you know you're an important person? She said, I know I'm an important person in the village because no wedding ceremony can take place in 7 villages around me without me getting invited. That's the importance. So it's powerful, it gave them power, it brought technology, their children changed. We pushed these children to go to school, we gave them scholarships. From illiterate families, they went to universities, they got their PhDs, many of them became doctors, engineers. I said, there's nothing wrong with the children of poor families. Simply, they didn't have enough finance to go through the school system. After they go to the school system, they're as good, even better. They're topping the class. So it's about perception, how you look at the world, what you want to do with the world. So now I talk about creating a new world. I call it world of 3 zeros. People get a little bit curious. What is zero? Is nothing. So what 3 zeros mean? It's very simple to remind ourselves. Zero net carbon emission, because we cannot survive unless we achieve that. Zero net carbon emission. Zero wealth concentration. You know, our countries move forward, like Bangladesh has moved forward in the last 53 years. But where did all this money come? Where did it go? It went to the several people, several families in the country. Bulk of the people is still at the bottom. Their conditions slightly improved, but not what the richest people in the country is. All the wealth goes in one direction. In every system, in every country, wealth gets concentrated in the hands of 10%, 12% of the population of the country, and the rest is still struggling. So I said, that's not right. So we have to address this question of wealth concentration. That's where the social business comes. If you introduce social businesses, there is no wealth concentration because money is not going to one place. Money is just circulating, and you are not taking any part of the profit that you make. So I said the future of the world is having more and more social businesses. Everybody says, social business is a funny concept, it will not go anywhere. Then we see big companies like Danone, like Uniqlo, they are becoming, Uniqlo is a big company in Japan, Danone is the biggest company in France. They became interested in social business. So we started having joint ventures of social business with big companies, addressing the problems of the poor people, because company doesn't want to make money for itself. It is only interested in solving problems. So now the social business idea is spreading. We have many, many centers at the universities. They have social business centers teaching what the social business is, challenging the whole economic system, whole economic framework. I said the root cause of all the problem that we created in the world is what we have designed as called economics, which is a profit maximizing system. I said that world will always be a world which will destroy itself. I said the civilization that we have created now is a self-destructive civilization. It will destroy itself. Nobody can save it. I repeat, this civilization is a self-destructive civilization. Either we'll be hit by all the problems we created, the environment and the climate will kill us, or wealth concentration will kill us. All the wealth will go to a few people on the top. The rest of the people will not have nothing. So that society is not tenable. Unless you are sharing the world, society cannot function. And the last one is zero unemployment. That's very interesting. It came because of my experience with microcredit. I said all human beings are born as entrepreneurs, not job seekers. But the economics teaches us, get ready, get a good degree, get a good education, get to the best university, so that you get a best job. I said job is a wrong idea, absolutely wrong idea. We have to leave. It's a couple of minutes. I said it's a wrong idea because human being is a creative being. Essence of human being is the creativity. That's why I said imagine. If you imagine, your creativity takes over. It makes it happen. You imagine that you want to go to the moon. When people were saying we want to go to the moon, everybody laughed at each other. Such a funny idea, human being going to the moon. You couldn't be funnier than that. But it's a dream. When you have a dream, you make it happen. And they made it happen. Now, lots of other dreams are coming up. What is your dream? The best thing any education institution gives to the students is to make him or make her capable of dreaming. If an institution is not inculcating that quality in young people, that institution is not an academic institution. It doesn't serve the whole purpose of being an academic institution, inspiring young people to dream the things that you would like to see. Once you dream, it will happen. So I talk about zero unemployment. I said all human beings are born as entrepreneurs. Job is the legacy of slavery. We don't want slavery. We don't want to be slaves. But the education system forces us to do that, because they say you need a degree, you need a piece of paper. Because if you produce a piece of paper, you get a job. I said, I want to create an education system where we don't need a piece of paper. We don't need a degree to show it to somebody. I use the knowledge to change the life of the other people, change the life of any people. That's what entrepreneurship is all about. And entrepreneurship is not about making money. Entrepreneurship is about changing the life of the people. So if you can create a society, create a world of 3 zeros, zero net carbon emission, zero wealth concentration, zero unemployment, we create a new civilization. That's the challenge. That's the task that we have. এই কথা বলার জন্যই আপনাদের কাছে আজকে আসলাম। আপনাদের আজকে তাড়াহুড়া করে চলে যেতে হচ্ছে, ভবিষ্যতে আবার দেখা হলে সময় নিয়ে কথা বলবো। আজকে কথা আজখানেই শেষ করি। সবাইকে অসংখ্য ধন্যবাদ। আশা করি যোগাযোগ রাখবেন, আরও বাংলাদেশ থেকে আরও আপনাদের বন্ধুদের নিয়ে আসতে পারেন কিনা দেখেন। আশা করি এটার দেশের পক্ষে অসংখ্য ধন্যবাদ। থ্যাংক ইউ ভেরি মাচ ফর অল। থ্যাংকস আ লট। খুদা হাফেজ।